everyone, I'm Ron Strong with Ron Strong Designs, and today I'm super excited because we're going to learn how to do the split single crochet, and we're going to learn how to work with multiple yarns at once while doing the split single crochet, so you get some really cool color work effects. So if you don't know, the split single crochet kind of looks like the knit stitch, and it's featured in a pattern called Slipper Boots designed by Elsie Cady. Specifically, the top of the foot and a little bit of the ankle feature this. Now, oftentimes this stitch is referred to as the waistcoat stitch, and I notice that a lot of people do it, and sometimes they do it incorrectly. So I want to give you a couple tips and tricks to making sure that you can crochet this stitch with complete ease. Alright, so let's get started. I have a little swatch hooked up here. Today I'm going to be using Lion Brand Touch of Alpaca yarn. Now the pattern for these slipper boots calls for two different kinds of yarn. Red Heart Super Saver and Red Heart TLC Everyday, I believe it's called, which is no longer available. If you have some in your stash, this might be the time to whip it out and crochet something up. But if you don't, you can just use Red Heart Super Saver for all the colors, or you can use something like this, which is Touch of Alpaca from Lion Brand Yarn. It's a little bit softer than the Red Heart Super Saver, but I just love yarn, so I have lots. And these were the colors that I had on hand, and I thought they looked really pretty together. So that's why I chose them. Now, if you've never done the split single crochet stitch before, it looks like this. Now you can see on the camera above that this looks kind of biasing to the left. You can see that the stitches are leaning to the left. That happens no matter what you do. And that's just the nature of the split single crochet stitch. So don't worry too much about it. Now, to work this stitch, we very simply insert our hook into the center of the single crochet. So the single crochet is made up of what looks like, I always say, a little V. We're going to press the tip of our hook into the center of that V and through the stitch. Now here's the important part. On the back of each of these stitches, you'll notice that you have the inverted V that's on the front. When you press your hook through, you want it obviously to go through the center of the V, but you also want it to go through the center of those two little legs of the V, or the inverted V on the back. And then you yarn over and pull up a loop. Then you yarn over and pull through two stitches. So again, to work that stitch, you insert your hook into the stitch, making sure you're going through in between those two legs on the back of your work, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. Insert your hook into the stitch, and you can tell that there are times where I really have to just press my hook in and really wriggle it around so it'll go through. And that's just because the stitch is naturally tight. And you just work a basic single crochet, and all we're doing is changing where we're pulling our yarn from. So instead of going through the top of the stitch, we're actually going through the stitch. And that's what gives us that look that's very similar to knitting. So let's say we want to change colors, or we want to add an extra color. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to quickly get to the end of my round here, which kind of brings me to my next point. When you're working this, the split single crochet stitch, you're going to only get this effect if you work it in the round. It can't be worked back and forth in rows. Alright, so I'm going to work my first stitch with this green yarn. Now I'm going to prepare this gold yarn by hopefully finding the center. Look at that, first try. Alright, so to set up a color change, I'm simply going to insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and I'll have two loops on my hook. Then I'll grab my next yarn, my next color, and I'll pull through both of those loops. Now the new color is on my hook. With that, I can insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, grab the previous yarn that I dropped and pull through 2. Insert into the next stitch and pull up a loop, drop it, grab the second color and pull through 2. Insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, grab my color A and pull through 2. Now you can already see that I'm getting these really cool blips of color. Now what I love is that on the subsequent round, so the round after this, I'm going to be working into the middle of these stitches with my split single crochet. So you're not even going to see where I changed the color on the top. It's just going to be hidden in the back. So we're going to get what look like knit stitches. So this is a really great kind of cheater method for a crocheter to achieve a look that's incredibly similar to knit. Now here's the difference. This fabric is nothing like knitting. It's very dense, it has barely any stretch at all, and it's solid. I would say that this is almost like chainmail, right? Like this is strong. And with that, I don't recommend this stitch for anything that is like a wearable. It's not great for hats. It would be great for fingerless mitts. In fact, this changing of the colors would be great to do a pair of fingerless mitts, and you get this really cool look and effect. And you can use color charts for knitting that in your crochet, and they'll work perfectly, and you'll get something that looks incredibly similar. Now keep in mind your work is going to bias a little bit to the left or the right if you're left-handed. And like I said, that's totally normal. But it helps when you're trying to do a little bit of color planning, maybe using a different kind of chart to keep that in mind, because it will bias a little bit. So it might look a little strange and it might not line up perfectly. So with that in mind, the last tip I'm going to give you is about your hook. So this is a hook, this is a wooden hook. I use it for a lot. I'm using an eye hook here. I love these hooks specifically because of the head. Now this hook it has a very kind of pointed head. I thought I had a crochet hook behind me, which I don't. The standard hook that's a little bit more rounded, probably not going to be your best bet when working this stitch specifically. And that's because you really want to get your hook in there and pick up a stitch. And so if your hook, the head of your hook is a little bit too rounded, it's not going to be pleasant trying to get your hook in there. Trust me, I spent all morning trying to wrestle with a rounded head hook. I didn't like it. As soon as I switched to these pointier hooks, I was golden. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to do the split single crochet and how to change colors. This is a really fun and unique stitch. Crochet is full of techniques like this, and I love being able to bring them to you thanks to my friends at Annie's. Make sure that you head down to the description and you check out all of the links we have. Annie's has a wonderful variety of different products and classes and platforms that you can join us on. While you're there, like this video, give us the subscribe button so that you'll always be notified when we have new videos coming out. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I'm Rob Strong. Bye guys.